Hello and welcome back to another episode of Holistic Happiness Club. And today's episode is interesting because it is going to deal with the current problem that we have. It is very relevant nowadays. The topic of the day is navigating uncertainty with a 7 step proven framework. Right? So I said that it is nowadays become more important, but this topic has always been important and this topic will always be important because life is unpredictable. It is uncertain by its nature. Future is uncertain by its nature. So to deal with uncertainty will always be relevant. But nowadays, because of geopolitical conditions and economic condition, this has become slightly more important than the other times. Alright, so we will get into this 7 step framework to deal with uncertainty in this episode. So stay till the very end because it's a 7 step framework. If you will miss any of it, it might not work very well with you. All right, but before getting into the content, before getting into the discussion, I want to say thank you so much. Thank you that you have decided to spend few minutes with me and with Holistic Happiness Club. And a special thank you to all of those who decide and who choose to tune into Holistic Happiness Club every single week. It's your time, investment of your time, that is the fuel of Holistic Happiness Club. It's your commitment that you show up. It keeps me on the edge that I need to show up every single week. And because you give us time, and my promise is always that I want to give you the maximum value of the time that you spend with me, that is why I'm always looking for best content that I can serve you with. All right, so thank you so much for tuning into Holistic Happiness Club. Thank you so much for becoming the constant companion of Holistic Happiness Club. Thank you so much. And without further delay, let's dive into the topic. Hi, my name is Akshay Tiwari. I'm a holistic happiness coach, author of the book named Usher, and the founder of Holistic Happiness Club. Holistic Happiness Club is the place where we talk about happiness holistically. We understand that happiness is not a single faceted thing, it's a multifaceted thing, and that is why it needs to be looked at from a 360-degree perspective, from a holistic perspective. Everything that is there in our life, our relationship, our health, our wealth, our success, our career, business, everything that is in our life has a contribution in our happiness, and that is why we need to touch upon every aspect of our life. So more about Holistic Happiness Club and more about me at the end of the episode. For now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the topic of the day. All right, so let's start with the topic of the day, and the topic of the day is navigating uncertainty with a 7 step framework. So the first step in that 7 step framework is acceptance. So the framework itself is actions, ACTIONS, and the first step from A is acceptance. Acknowledge what you cannot control. Acknowledge that there is some uncertainty in some area of your life. Right? There is always uncertainty in every area of your life, but there are some uncertainties which gives us hard time, which gives us the feeling of restlessness, and which gives us the stress. So the first step in this 7 step framework is acceptance. First, you need to accept that there is some uncertainty. Also, you need to accept that it is giving you the hard time, it is giving you some stress, it is giving you restlessness or any other kind of emotion that you are feeling because of that uncertainty. You need to accept it, and I will highly recommend that you write it down. Okay, ask yourself this question: what is that particular thing that I'm not able to control, or what is that particular thing which is very uncertain at this point in time, and how it is making me feel, how it is making you feel, what kind of emotions comes up when you think of that particular scenario or that particular problem. So that is the first step, that you need to accept that there is some uncertainty. What happens, a lot of time we do not accept, we live in denial. Okay, this is not the case, there is no uncertainty, it will be all right. And when we don't accept that, it creates some kind of void inside us, and that is not good. Not good for the problem itself, the not it is not good for your physical health, it is not good for your mental health as well. Or if you ignore physical and mental health for some period of time, also it is not good to deal with that uncertainty in that denial mode. Once you accept it, you will be better equipped to handle that situation. You will see how, by using this framework. So the first step, A, in the actions framework, is acceptance, right? Second step is C, contingency planning, which means you need to think of the worst case scenario. So let's say there is some uncertainty. Let's take one example. Let's take my example. I am a software engineer, and let's say my job is in danger. My company is laying off few employees. All right. So I am uncertain whether I will be retained, or whether I will be able to stay, or I will be fired. Right. So there is this uncertain situation. All right. So what I can do, I mean, first step was acceptance. I need to accept that there is some uncertainty and it is making me feel restless. All right. So second step is contingency planning, which asks you to think of the worst case scenario. In this case, in my example, what is the worst case scenario? That I will be fired, right? So I will think of this particular scenario for 30 seconds. Just think in your mind that this has already happened. The worst case scenario has already happened. Now, are you equipped to handle that worst case scenario? Are you able to handle that worst case scenario? Because life is not going to end with this. Life is not going to end if I am fired from some random company, some company from in which I am working right now. So life is not going to end. There are thousands and thousands of other companies which needs good people, and I know that I have potential, I will be placed somewhere else, right? So life is not going to end. First thing that we need to recognize. So how are we equipped to handle this scenario? How it is making us feel? So the reason that it is important that you go through with this step, it is because once you face the fear, then the fear, the amount and the aura of that fear reduces. So let's say, for an example, I mean, if you face any particular situation, I am not able to think of the example right now. Let's say that I am little bit afraid of heights. So if you go to height, if you are afraid of height, and somebody is asking you to go to that particular, some particular height, let's say 2 story or 3 story building, then you will be so much afraid. Okay, but when you go there, if somebody is by force taking you at the 3 story building and they are asking you to look down, and when you look down you will be frightened, of course you will be frightened, but next moment the fear will reduce, because you know that you are already at the height, and now still you are safe. And still, maybe right after that, when you come down, then you will realize that it was not that scary. It was looking like a life threatening situation, but it was not life threatening. Of course I was frightened, but my life was not in danger, at least, right? So this is what happens when you face the fear. That is why the second step is very important, that you think of the worst case scenario. Don't keep on thinking of your worst case scenario, it will again trigger some kind of stress again. But just think for 30 seconds what will happen, and if this is going to happen, are you ready to handle that? And if you are ready, then why to worry, right? So this was the second step. Okay, and before I go to the third step, I have a very special request to all of you. I know you are enjoying this discussion, this content, so I have this very special request that if you are listening this podcast on Spotify and iTunes, please rate this podcast up to 5 star. Please leave your feedback, or if you have any special request to me, leave that in the comment section. Okay, this is the best way to help this podcast to reach more and more people. And if you are listening this podcast on YouTube, please like the video, please share this with others to whom you think that this content is going to be useful, and please subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you so much. This was the special request, and let's now move forward to the next step. Next step is thorough information gathering. That is the T in the action. Okay, thorough information gathering, which means, see, we are in an uncertain situation. It means that there are some variables about which we do not know so much. That's why it is uncertain, right? So gather more information. Try to gather as much of information as it is needed. So in my case, in my example, if I know that there is some tension which is going on in my company, maybe I can talk to my manager. Okay, uh, I can ask him what is my position, okay, and what are they looking for when they are taking this decision whether to retain any employee or not. So what will happen, I mean, it will give me some more perspective, it will give me some more idea about how this situation is going to unfold. Also, be very careful that you are not asking any random Joe about this situation. You need to ask, you need to gather the information from the reliable or authoritative, authentic sources. All right, because if you are going to ask every random person, then you are going to have the kind of information that might not be useful for you, and it might be confusing to you at the end. So ask, gather the information from the reliable sources only. Right, so gather all the information. What else you can do in this situation? What else are the scenario? Else are the playing factor? What else are the variables that you might not be looking at right now? So that is the T in actions framework. Next is I, which means identify and choose. What you need to identify, you need to identify all the possible solution for this particular situation. In my case, what I can do, I can start working better. I can start, I mean, if I am able to get more insight from my manager that what other people are looking for, maybe I can start developing my skills in that particular area. Okay, so that's one possible solution. Second possible solution is that I can start working and I can start applying to new job, and I can start so that's second approach. Third approach is I can start seeing that what is the new trend in the market, what is something which is emerging, because if something is emerging and if I'm going to ride on that wave, maybe I can check in right now in that particular trend, in that particular technology, and I can master that technology, and maybe I'll get better job, right? So these are possible scenarios, and there can be more as well. If you sit down and start writing, then there can be more scenarios as well. So evaluate all of your alternative and select the best fit. And how you are going to select the best fit? So this is a little tricky one, because to select the best fit, you need to know yourself very well. You need to know your core values, you need to know your own baselines, right? So what drives you, what motivates you, what will make you reach your goal faster? So all that things that you need to consider, and then you need to choose the best fit option. All right, so you need to know yourself a little bit more and little bit deeper to choose the best option. It is not always about the money, it is not always about the survival also. Maybe there is something more to every possible solution that you need to look for. Right, so that was the I in the actions framework. Now, O in the actions framework is organize controllables. See, this situation is uncertain because there are few things that are beyond your control. And of course, in every situation, there are few things that are always beyond your control. But in this particular situation, there are multiple things maybe which are beyond your control. There are multiple factors that you cannot control. So in my example, maybe decisions from management are beyond my control. I cannot influence them. What I can do, I can focus only on myself, right? So focusing on myself, developing my skills and developing my skills where I was lacking earlier, that's in my hand. right? That is a controllable factor. Whether management will choose to retain me or they will choose to not retain me, that's up to them. That's not my job. That's not something I need to think of. That's These things are uncontrollable, right? If management is changing it, if leadership is deciding something, they will act on it. It's okay, it's the business. That is how businesses are run. Okay, if we can debate it is ethical or unethical, that's separate thing, but this is how currently businesses are being run. So okay, so these things are uncontrollable. These things are not in our hand. What is in our hand? We can choose how we behave in that situation. We can choose that we are going to work on our own skills. We are going to upgrade ourselves in this particular situation. So these are the controllable factor. You are the controllable factor here, and everything else is not controllable, right? So you need to separate what are the things that you can do right now in this situation that will help you better equipped to handle that situation, and rest everything which is beyond your control, leave it. Okay, just write it down. Make two column, one controllable column and one uncontrollable column, and write down all the factors that you can control, and write down all the factors which are beyond your control, and then you need to prioritize. All right, so that was O in the actions framework. And in the actions framework is that you need to decide now versus later actions. You need to choose. So there are, let's say, 10 things that you can control right now. So out of those 10, 5 are some long term things, okay, and 5 are some short term things. So you need to decide what are the things that you can do right now. You can start today. What are the things that you can start 2 days after that? Okay, what are the things that you can start next week? So you need to decide. You need to separate, segregate immediate action that you can take right now and the actions that you are going to take after some time. Or maybe those are the actions which will come as and when the result will come from those these immediate actions. All right, so this is N in the actions framework. And then the last thing in the actions framework is shift your perspective. Do not treat this uncertain situation as a challenge. Treat this as an opportunity. If you ask your mind, see, our mind is a wonderful, beautiful thing. When you say that it is, oh my God, there is some challenge, there is some problem, how will I deal it? It's very hard to deal with this problem. Then your mind will show you 100 reasons that you are not able to, why you will not be able to deal with this problem. But at the same time, if you tell your mind that, oh, it's not a challenge, it's an opportunity which is coming to my end. Okay, maybe I will be fired, then I can start working on the business idea that I have been thinking of for so long, but it was never taking off because of the pressure of the work. So right now I can take it up and I can start working on that. Right, maybe I wanted to shift my career, I wanted to switch fields, I wanted to try something else. This is the time I need to learn new technology and learn new fields, gather new certificates, and get on with a new kind of job which I was looking for so long time. Right, so I need to think, and we need to think these challenges, these uncertain situations as an opportunity, because they can push us to think outside of the box, think innovatively and creatively, and find some creative solution of the problem that we have in hand. And in that creative moment, we might hit something that we have been waiting for so long to do. Right, so treat these things as an opportunity. And I, from my life, I can say that uh, these problems, these uncertain situation has come into my life multiple times, and every single time they have given me something beautiful at the end. And I'm always thankful for all those problems. They were looking like problems at that time. Right now, retrospectively looking at those problems, it looks like they were the opportunities. So we can develop this approach, and there are multiple things how you can develop this approach. One is by practicing gratitude. So when you are grateful for the uncertainty, grateful for the challenge, you will start treating as an opportunity. All right, so this is actions framework. ACTIONS. I have explained everything, but there is something more. There is something more that I want to talk about. One more thing, you can take it as a bonus. Actually, two more things. So, one is that by nature, uncertainty cannot be dealt with. That is why it is uncertain, because it is going to happen in future, and because it is depending on so many factors that are beyond your control, so you can never control the outcome of this particular situation. So always be ready to face any kind of uh, outcome, any kind of result. And that is why I have asked you to write down or think of the worst case scenario that can happen and how you are going to handle that worst case scenario. Right. So that is point one. And second thing is, and that when you go through this actions framework, if you are writing down all the things that I have just spoken to you, then be prepared that whatever you are writing right now, so let's say that you are evaluating all the possible options right now and you are gathering more information. That thing might not be relevant after 15 days, so you need to constantly monitor these situations. There can be new development in 1 week or 2 week of time, so you need to constantly add things. All right. And you need to, maybe you need to constantly go through this actions framework every week until that uncertain time is not over. All right. So this was the bonus. This is actions framework. This is how you deal with uncertainty. So when I said that you cannot deal with uncertainty, results and outcome are always going to be unpredictable, then why there is this actions framework? Because it equips you, it makes you it helps you better manage this particular uncertain situation. Okay. It gives you the tools, the information, the perspective that you need to deal with this situation, so that you are not stressed, so that you are not anxious, so that you are not restless. Right. So this is what actions framework is, and I hope you have found this useful, and I hope you have learned something from all this discussion. So let me know in the comment section how you have found this discussion, and if there is anything that you want to give me as a feedback, I'm happy to take it, positive or negative, anything. All right. And yeah, and if there is anything, any topic, any other different topic that you want me to talk about, I will be happy to take that as well. All right. So this is the end of the topic of the day, but before we end the episode, I have few things to tell you. That first announcement of the day is that I have written this small ebook. The title of the ebook is The Happiness Blueprint: Practical Strategies for a Fulfilled Life. Okay. So this is a small pocket size ebook, but it is full of actionable items. You can buy this ebook, you can download this ebook, and you can start implementing those actionable items right now, and they will start giving you results from the very moment you will start implementing them. It's a small book, small read. You can download this and start working on it right away. Second is that if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me one to one. So to connect with me on one to one basis, the link is given in the description. You can connect with me one to one using that link. You can go to that link and you can schedule a meeting with me one on one. We can discuss what are the roadblocks for your happiness and what are the roadblocks for your success, and how you can deal with them. What is your personalized happiness blueprint, that we can discuss on that call. All right. And if you want to connect with me on social media, Instagram is the place, because I am most active on Instagram. Happiness Architect is my handle, so please reach out there, and you, whenever you are getting time, if you are DMing me anything, I am you can be rest assured that I am going to reply to that one. And if you want to check out more information about me, you can check out my website. My website is akshaytiwari.in. All right. So that's it about today. That's the end of the episode. I'll take your leave, and till the time we are seeing each other again, stay well, stay safe, stay healthy, stay blessed, and take care of yourself, take care of the people around you, take care of the loved one, and always remember, happiness is a lifestyle.